I'm Whitney Tilson. I hope you enjoy this video. If you'd like to learn more about Kase Learning and our programs, just go to kaselearning.com. And if you have any questions, just email me at info@kaselearning.com.
What are your best tips to improve your writing skills if it's not one's natural skill?
Yeah, it's a great question, and there are two answers. One, do a lot of it, and two, get good coaching. And that is the exact same advice I would give you to become a good public speaker, to put together good PowerPoint presentations, to become good at tennis, to become a good surgeon, to become a good fighter pilot, generally to become a good investor. In other words, to develop very high skill levels at anything. There are two things you need. You need to do a lot of it, a lot of practice, but you can't just go practice by yourself. The key is to get coaching, to get feedback. So there's a book, let me see if I can find it right up here. Here it is. There are two books I'm going to recommend on this. One is called The Little Book of Talent by Daniel Coyle. That's book number one. And then he wrote another book, very similar book. You could probably just pick one or the other. They're both similar, called The Talent Code, also by Daniel Coyle. And his point is that you need to become a very good violinist. He talks about, yes, you have to do the 10,000 hours, Malcolm Gladwell's classic concept of to become really good at anything, you need to put in the 10,000 hours. But what Coyle points out is that that's not enough. You need world-class coaching like you would get in the violin at Juilliard, or you go down to Bollettieri Tennis Academy for tennis, or I've done some training with the Navy SEALs out in Coronado and see how they train the world's greatest soldiers slash assassins through their BUDS program. But that's just the beginning. Being trained, go read John Wooden's book, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's book about John Wooden, the greatest basketball coach of all time, and the kind of feedback, very, very detailed feedback. The world's greatest tennis players really rely on top-notch coaches, Federer and Djokovic and all. And, even the world's greatest tennis player of all time, Roger Federer, still needs, a coach, someone who can watch what he's doing and make suggestions and put him through drills and continue to build his skill set. So all of that gets back to, being a good writer. Look for opportunities to do writing. Write a lot of emails, but see if you can write monthly letters, not quarterly. Write in-depth annual letters when it comes to investing, but don't just write them and send them out. Find someone. In my case, it was my wife, happens to be a very good writer and editor. It started with my mom when I was young. She was an English teacher, and boy, did she rip up my stuff. Michael Porter, who I worked with for 5 years, was an extraordinary editor. And now on the investing stuff, I have Susan read it for, and sometimes my parents read really important letters. But for the layman's perspective. But then I've got a group of friends, including Glenn and Ken Schubinstein and some other friends who are in the investing business, and they give me excellent feedback on that front. So, it's, I'm trying to think if there are any sort of writing classes or, there's a book here that I'm just reading, that I just finished reading, Stephen King, the horror writer, one of the most famous writers of all time. And he wrote a book here called On Writing, a memoir of a craft. So I just finished this book recently, and this is more for higher level writers, people who want to become professional writers. So that's a book I'd recommend on writing. But honestly, you just got to do a lot of it and pay attention to it. Don't just be sloppy. I see so much just sloppy writing where people just are dashing off stuff. You know, your writing represents you, even when you're just sending an email, when you're posting something on Facebook. You know, don't be, I see so many young people and they use all these abbreviations and they don't use any punctuation, they don't capitalize things, and it just makes you look ignorant. If you want to be a good writer, make some effort, you know, even in your day-to-day writing, because that day-to-day writing, those small habits really add up into, and, you know, generally speaking, your habits short-term don't matter at all, but long-term, they really define who.
I'm Whitney Tilson. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about Kase Learning and our programs, just go to kaselearning.com. And if you have any questions, just email me at info@kaselearning.com.